Algebra 1, Concept 1200, Parallel and Perpendicular Lines. Let's review that parallel lines are two lines that run next to each other, similar to like train tracks, but never intersect. Perpendicular lines are lines that intersect at a 90-degree angle. Okay, now that we reviewed that, let's look at this first example. Number 1 says graph the function y equals 3x plus 4 and compare that with the graph of the function y equals 3x. So let's first look at the first equation, y equals 3x plus 4. We need to identify that the y-intercept is 4 and the slope is 3. So when we do that, we need to start at 4 on the graph. And then if I try to go up 3 and to the right 1, I'm going to come off the graph. So I'm going to go down 3 and left 1, down 3 and left 1. You can see that I've made 3 or 4 points on the graph. I'm going to connect those by creating a linear or a straight line. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the second equation. It doesn't have a y-intercept, so you'll notice I put plus 0 after it, and I'm going to start at the origin. From there, I'm going to go up 3, right 1, up 3, right 1, and connect those points. These two lines are parallel. If you look at those two equations, the thing that they have in common is their slope. You will have parallel lines when you have the same slope. They will never intersect if the slope is the same. Let's look at this next example. Graph the function y equals -1/2 x and compare it to the graph y equals 2x. Now I'm going to add plus 0 so we know that we're starting at the origin in both of these equations. The first one, I start at the origin and my slope tells me to go down 1 and right 2. I'm going to plot a few points on the graph and connect them to create the linear line. I'm going to start at the origin again. This time my slope tells me to go up 2 and right 1. Up 2 and right 1. Notice when I graph these two lines, I create a 90-degree angle where the two lines intersect. Intersect means they touch one another. Let's look at the slopes of these graphs. The y-intercepts are the same, but in one equation I have a slope of -1/2, and the other slope is 2/1. You will have perpendicular lines if the slopes are opposite of one another. In this case, we've got a positive and a negative, that's opposite, and reciprocal of one another. Reciprocal means to take your fraction and flip it over. So we have a -1/2. If we flip that over and make it positive, it becomes 2/1. That makes these lines perpendicular. Let's look at this next one. It says write an equation in slope-intercept form to pass through 4, 4, and then it would be parallel to y equals -4x plus 8. We need to know two things. We need a point, which we've been given, 4, 4, and we need the slope. Remember that if an equation is going to be parallel, the slope needs to be the same. So we're going to identify the slope from the given equation. The slope is going to have to be -4. The ordered pair is going to have to be 4, 4. Let's substitute that into the y equals mx plus b, or slope-intercept formula, and try to find the b value, or the new y-intercept. So I'm going to have 4 is equal to -4 times 4 plus b. -4 times +4 is -16. So I'll add 16 to both sides, which means my b value is 20. When I rewrite that, I'm going to have the equation y equals -4x plus 20. Number 4, give an example of a line that's perpendicular. Okay, so our slope in this equation is -1/3. The opposite of negative would be positive. Reciprocal would mean we flip that over. So we're going to have a positive 3/1. Because this says to just give an example, I'm just going to plug in the slope 3/1 and choose any y-intercept or b value that I want. So for me, I chose y equals 3/1 or just 3x, and I put plus 4 just to keep it the same. You could have -2. You could have y equals 3x plus 14. plus 17, minus 17, whatever you want. The y-intercept can change, but to make sure that it's perpendicular, it needs to be opposite reciprocal. Number 5, write the equation of a line parallel to the given line that passes through the point on the graph. So we need to figure out two things. What's the ordered pair of the point on the graph, and what's the slope of the given line? The first point is -4, +3. Now, to find the slope, I need to find 2 points on the graph. Okay? I've labeled those, and if I do rise over run, I have to go up 2 and I have to go right 3. So my slope's going to be 2/3. Again, now I'm going to plug in what I know. Y, 3, is equal to 2/3 times x, or -4 plus b. Let's simplify that. 3 equals -8/3 plus b. I'm going to add 8/3 to both sides. And 3 plus 8/3 is 5 2/3. Now that I know the slope and the y-intercept, I can write them in slope-intercept form. Y equals 2/3 x plus 5 2/3.